Hey, so guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Maya versus Ryan fight. And so, if you are new around here and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Maya is 19-2 with 5 KOs, and Ryan is 7-1-1 with 3 KOs. This fight is for the WBO World Welterweight title. Maya's last fight was a loss via split decision versus Jonas, and Ryan's last fight was a win via stoppage in round 4 versus Harper. This fight is in Maya's home country of America, and to speak a bit more about what I've just been saying, like I say, that WBO title on the line, that is Sandy Ryan's title, in which she has had for, I believe, a little bit now. She obviously fought McCaskill and had the draw there. I believe she won the belt before that, but obviously then she went on to defend it very, very well last time versus Terry Harper, which I'm going to speak about in just a moment. But one of the weird things that has been talked about a little bit coming into the leading of this fight is, of course, Ryan has been developing very well. She's since going over to America has had this new team. There's been talks about her stealing the coach of Michaela Mayer. I'm not really too sure how true that is, if they're just kind of accusations and things like that. But nonetheless, Ryan has been developing and improving very much so with every fight. So I think if the way that she's developing right now, I think it could be very interesting to see what type of version of Sandy Ryan comes into this fight. Obviously, last time out, Mayer, that loss versus Jonas was a very controversial one. It was one which had the fans in annoyance realistically, because a lot of them thought that Michaela Mayer did enough to win, perhaps because it was in, I believe it was in Liverpool, and Jonas, of course, is from there. It was on Boxer as well, and things like that. There was that more perhaps siding towards Jonas there, but it was a close fight. There was times in which Jonas had success. Mayer was the aggressor on the front foot, was able to push Jonas back quite a lot and get her up on the ropes and do some good work a lot of the time. But nonetheless, it's nice to see her in this opportunity where she's still fighting for a world title, and she's getting used to being at welterweight now. Obviously, she had that fight before where you weren't really too sure with her moving up in weight how she'd be able to deal with it. Of course, she's tall for the weight, but she's not particularly big and kind of realistically that strong realistically for the welterweight now realistically, compared to something like a Ryan who is very physically strong. So it's going to be interesting to see Maya's height compared to Ryan's kind of physical strength, how that's going to fare. But yeah, she still looked very impressive last time versus Jones. Perhaps is slowing a little bit, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, but nonetheless was still putting on a very aggressive display, in which so was Ryan in that last time out versus Harper. She completely shut out Harper and just made Harper move down in weight. Basically, just completely out physicaled her, if that's even the best way of putting it. She just let her hands go, pushed Harper back continuously. Harper had no answer to the onslaught in which Sandy Ryan was putting on, and in general, like I said, that was the best performance we have seen so far from Sandy Ryan. It was coming off, like I say, the McCaskill performance, where of course she was frustrated to not get the decision, and it was another close fight, uh, but this time for Sandy Ryan, and she was eager to come and really put on a show. And like I say, with the coaching which she has developing with them, it's been great to see her development, and she realistically just suffocated Harper. And yeah, it was an excellent performance and has made Harper move down in weight. Of course, she is fighting this weekend. Of course, it's back Maya being fighting in her home country, but Ryan's never really been phased to go away and to fight in America, as like I say, she spent a lot of her time with her team out there now as well. So perhaps even if she is classed as a weight fighter for this fight, even though she is the champion, I don't really think that's going to phase her too much. So, but yeah, like I said, it's going to be really interesting. I believe this fight could have two styles in which will collide and make for a great fight. And I'm sure Maya is somebody who, after having two fights in which are against high opposition, not really go her way. Of course, the other one being Alicia Baumgartner. She's going to be really eager to come on and put a show here, and to really kind of highlight why she is still around the top and why she is still deserving of world title opportunities. And to speak about Maya as a fighter, she's got very good, solid combinations, and she really did show them against Jonas. Like I say, she was having a lot of success pushing Jonah back, and when she did have her up on the ropes, she was throwing very, like I say, good, solid, strong combinations. She's got very good body work as well, and does really punish you when you're on the ropes, and so does Ryan. So that's why I think in general they'd be interested to see who's the one on the back foot for this fight. Perhaps may be a little bit more comfortable on the back foot, but in that Jonas fight, she really didn't seem to want to. And like I say, perhaps she is becoming a bit slower, but in the past has been seen to fight a bit better on the back foot than that of Ryan. Where when Ryan fought McCaskill, I think some of the things she did wrong was fighting at a mid range, respecting McCaskill a bit too much, and is kind of struggling to find her own range and finding her own rhythm. Whereas now I believe she's past that, and like I say, this is a scary version of Sandy Ryan, which we're now seeing. But like I say, Karen speaks about Maya. She's come forward type fighter typically, but she can also fight at mid or in close range. Perhaps she can fight at a mid range a bit better than Ryan. I believe Maya has a better jab than that of Ryan. She imposes herself physically. She, like I say, is a tall fighter. She has that size and is definitely able to impose herself. And over Jonas, who typically isn't really that tall of a fighter, she was able to physically kind of put herself onto Jonas and then be able to have success from there. She gives her all in fights. I think that is proven now. She typically wants to fight at quite a high tempo, perhaps a little bit of a slow starter at times, but in that last fight, I think she wanted to fight at quite a high tempo, and Ryan, of course, has proven she wants to fight at a high tempo as well. So that's why I think this fight could catch fire. She's quite consistent with her work and her combinations, like I say, consistently hurting, consistently putting out that same damage. She knows when to clinch and when to let her hands go and then to clinch when necessary, and that's where perhaps she was getting better of exchanges versus Jonas in that last fight. She's got good angles with hooks, and even in close she can seem to find the angles, work the angles to be able to find success and even come in with the big overhands as well. And I think she's got a good chin as well. I believe she's has been in there with some big operators, and she is not really somebody who's not. She is there to get hit basically, and so I think she has taken some big hits, but then has also been able to deal with them with, like I say, that good chin she has. Negatives were, like I say, I think taking a backward step is something in which she doesn't really want to do now. I think a balance and a flat-footedness perhaps is catching up with her a little bit. And like I say, that's where perhaps Jonas had a bit more success because she was able to move a lot better than that of Maya. And Ryan now has perhaps proven that she doesn't really want to take much of a back step either. So again, that's where I think it could kind of just clash into the middle of the ring when them two just neither of them want to take a backward step. I think her hand speed isn't really anything too excellent. I think perhaps Ryan's hand speed might be a bit faster, and like I say, in general, I think Maya perhaps might be slowing down. She can sometimes start her combinations out of range and then just slowly kind of force her way into range with the combinations. It's a scary way to get in close, but it does leave herself vulnerable to counters if like I say, she consistently starting them combinations out of range. She can walk onto shots similar like that of Ryan. She lunges forwards with some of her work. I think she can get tired, but like I say, does give her all in fights. She can get moved with shots as well. I think Jonas, when she was having success with the hooks in which she was landing towards Maya's head, it seemed like it was kind of wobbling, or not wobbling, but like pushing Maya aside with the shots. And so, yeah, I think she can get moved around with shots from her opponent. I think her head's on the line quite a lot. She can get drawn into a fight, and like I say, it'd be interesting to see if she is slower at the weight. I think this fight will kind of show against a younger fighter like Sandy Ryan if how slow Maya might be at this weight, if she is really slow or if she's able to still keep the pace in which she once was fighting at a lower weight. Ryan as a fighter, she's a very aggressive type fighter that has now been proven very much so. She's a come forward fighter who's very physical and wants to fight at a high pace as well. She digs shots in. I believe she's coming in with confidence now. I think since that last performance that really boosted that confidence, and from that McCaskill fight before, I think like I say, she was perhaps questioning herself a little bit, perhaps giving too much respect for Ryan and not really coming in with quite as much self-confidence, but I now really do believe that self-confidence is there. And Ryan's development has been really interesting to see. I mean, she had that loss early on in her career, and she looked like she had quite a few things defensively wrong, and she seemed like she was able to get hit with quite a lot of shots and wasn't able to keep fighters away and get drawn into a lot of her fights. And but now it seems like the craft has come together, and like I say, she has been improving, and now she is looking like a real threat in this welterweight division, which is quite a stacked division currently. And so, yeah, she is definitely one of the better champions in my opinion. She's got good body work. She's hard to get off you when she is, like I say, putting on that onslaught. She's always had that, but perhaps she was easier to get countered, like I say, get drawn into a fight. But now fighters seem like they don't really want to physically and take the power in which Ryan is thrown with, who, like I say, it seems like she's thrown with quite a lot of power currently. She pushes her shots through. I think she's typically quite an in-close type fighter. She's got good shot variation. She's got a high guard, which perhaps might be the best part of her defense. Like I say, that high guard, which is difficult to land cleanly against her a lot of the time. Perhaps, certain shots like a good jab is something which she can perhaps get caught at a little bit, or if you're able to, she is open to the body. If you go straight to the body and throw a jab to the body, she can get hurt there. Negatives about her as well. I think her accuracy can be off quite a bit at the time. Like I say, if she is fighting at a mid range, I think she can struggle to find her range, and I think she does force herself into range a little bit just through her pure physicality and aggression. She can also walk onto shots. I think she can be wild and quite reckless at times, and perhaps was a little bit against Harper, getting a bit too eager and getting a bit too reckless. And like I say, I think she's open to counters. I think in general, like I say, the mid-range work isn't always excellent. On the back foot, it's not really something in which we've seen her too much, and so it's going to be interesting to see if Maia, with the size in which she has, perhaps she is at this welterweight division. When you think about physical fighters, she probably is the most physical one around, so she's probably the one that's most likely to get Ryan on the back foot if any of them are able to. Like I say, she is quite flat-footed as well. She can get caught at a good jab. Against speed, I think she can struggle a little bit. I think she can become frustrated perhaps if things aren't really going her way. And, like I say, she didn't really seem nervous or anything like that in the last fight, but she's main eventing this one on a great top ranked card in which, has fighters involved like Bruce Carrington and Xander Zayas as well, which, I could have spoken about the fights, but I just didn't think they were quite up there to be able to do so yet, but they are two fights in which really developing very well. But like I say, she's now got this kind of really big platform in which she's going to have to deliver on. Of course, she's the underdog coming into it. Well, kind of. She's not the home fighter. I believe she's the favourite, but she's not the home fighter, so perhaps she might be coming in with a little bit of nervous energy. So it's going to be interesting to see if we actually do see that energy coming from her or not. Ryan, I believe, like I say, is the favourite. I think it's very close to, pick between which one you think. But I think that Ryan's going to win via unanimous decision. I don't think she's going to be able to stop Maia. I think Maia's going to make her really work for it. But I think Ryan's going to be the one that's going to be able to physically be the one on the front foot that bit more, catch Maia with the poor balance on the back foot, push her back, and then they're just going to get drawn into a bit of a slugfight at times on the ropes. But I think Ryan's going to get the better of the exchanges through that pure physicality and aggression. Like I say, I think no fighter realistically is going to want to face Sandy Ryan right now, especially in the way that she's fighting. And I think she's going to be a very tough test for anybody, especially if she can get you up against the ropes and then, like I say, cause some real damage there. But then, like I say, it's a stacked welterweight division currently at the moment. So who she could go on to fight, I believe if she wins this one, she could and possibly should go on to fight with some of the other welterweights. But it wouldn't surprise me because of the way the welterweight division is at the moment if perhaps we'll see her against one of the on one of the Riyadh season cards, in my opinion, because Price and Jonas, the IBO and IBF champion, are both with Boxer, and it seems like Boxer still aren't really too willing to be working with matchroom fighters unless it's on a Riyadh season show. So I think that could be the next progression on for Sandy Ryan, in my opinion. That's where I think could go. If not, something like a Habazin could be a really excellent fight for Ryan. Of course, Habazin has that experience and perhaps might make it a little bit tough. She's the WBC champion now, but I think Ryan's pace could really put out a brutal performance against something like a Habazin, and I think that style could really favour into us. Perhaps if she's wanting to go for that WBC title, which is a very prestigious title, that's somewhere she could go and have success. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you didn't, like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.